All right, what a special night the other night, and just amazing. I think just one of our players coming to me in practice and talk about how cool that was and how electric that was. And I think we think about the outcome, and that was the special part of it. And yes, that's a piece of it, but everything that goes into that, we always talk in practice about our preparation, the process, and the outcome will take care of itself. And there's so many people involved to make that game day happen and that atmosphere, create that atmosphere. And one of my favorite sayings is it takes everybody, it takes everyone. And the other night, everyone was involved. And there's so many people behind the scenes that we don't see that I just want to say a huge thank you to, from the media to the folks getting the field crew, getting the field ready, painting that thing up, to everybody making Dowdy-Ficklin preparations and making things happen. And our ticket sales, our administration pushing ticket sales, lowering prices, bread at Sup Dogs, getting the students in there. And there's so many more that just kind of, has our back and making this thing happen. Chancellor Rogers, John Gilbert, and just the amazing job they're doing of helping this game day experience be special this year. And it certainly has, helped create a 5-1 record in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium this year. And, then the second half, a spark we didn't know we all needed, came about and made it really electric. And that was really cool to look up there and see the Tarps Off crew up there waving the shirts around. And then my favorite song, Petey Pablo, came on, and maybe you want to take my shirt off and wave it around a little bit too. But, just thank you to those guys, and thank you to everybody from the bottom of our hearts that kind of make those things happen and make Dowdy-Ficklin truly special, and made a difference the other night, and certainly contributed to the outcome in that. So, and there's so many plays I think we can talk about throughout the game. Brock Spalding's catch, Zion Wilson's performance, his 2 sacks, London Montgomery's big run with Anthony Smith's pancaking somebody in the end zone, the way Jamarly Riddle continues to play the game, or just the way our team continues to play with great effort and great energy and do the things we ask them to do. But I think I really want to talk about the last 5 minutes of the game, because to me that's kind of a storybook or a movie. They get the ball and they're in the red zone, and they've been 40 or 41 coming in the country in red zone scoring offense, and I think they lead the country. And we get them to a 4th and 1, and the bulk of our work gets done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and some cleanup on Thursday, and then Friday's kind of your walkthrough. We always talk in our coaching staff, hey, coach them all the way up to kickoff, prepare them all the way up to kickoff. And on Friday, we put a little tweak into one of our defenses in short yardage. When they sent 22 personnel out there to run the power, we're going to tweak it a little bit, try to bait them into running it one way, and then bring pressure from that side. And credit to Coach Aldridge and the defensive staff for getting that done. And on the 4th and 1, the defensive guys executed that to a T. And Ryan Rosenberg, was the first to make contact back there, and just to see the defense get that stuff and that stop on a 4th and 1. I think just a little bit over 5 minutes to go in the game could have been a huge turning point in the game. You give that up, they keep going down and score. Not only they eating clock, but they get ahead in the game. So thought that was huge. Get the ball back offensively. Thought we were playing with some great effort. Pushed it up for a first down. Got the 1st and 10, and happened to have a mishap. Caden got loose with the football and turned the ball over. And I think a lot of teams at that point, you got about 4:15 on the clock, would be done. The game would be over. Memphis would end up in the end zone. And I didn't see any of our guys flinch. I kept seeing them fight. And, then we have another big 3rd down or 2nd down, and they run the stretch play, pressure we hardly ever call. And our defense back there hitting it for a loss and puts it behind the sticks, and then holds them to a field goal, which I thought was huge. And then we get the ball at our own 25 and go for a 2-minute drive, something we practice every single week. And our guys never batted an eye, never flinched, and ready to go at it. And Caden had just had a bad play happen to him, a situation that, he kind of got kicked in the teeth, so to speak. And he bounces right back and goes 5 for 5 on this 2-minute drive. And we talked earlier in the week about exactly where we need to get to for the kicker. Hey, we can kick it from this distance, but if we get to the 35, we feel even better. If we get to the 30, we know it's money. And you see Anthony Smith catch a football, get right out of bounds, right at the 37, 38-yard line. We know we're in field goal range. And, Coach Baker called the verts and pulled up the play in practice this morning. It was the same 4 verts we called in 2-minute situation last week. It's the same catch Peyton Mangrum made in one-on-ones. And we talk about preparing for your moment, always going to work, and you never know when that moment's going to come. And Peyton has been exceptional on special teams this year. I think he's had 6 catches offensively, so nobody expects him to make the play. But when his moment, when that moment came, he was ready, he was prepared, and so many of those guys on our team are, and made the huge play. And so happy for him and so happy for those guys. And then defensively turn around, and it's like, hey, you know how they got to have a touchdown. It's the same 2-minute situation you go through every week. Do they need a field goal? Do they need a touchdown? And keep the ball in front of you. And then you get to the last play of the game. You stick your penny package out there. Mike Wright, who also punted the football and did a little bit of everything, was obviously prepared for his moment, was back there and picked the ball off. And, so many guys like that made a huge difference in the game. And that's what our team is about. And I told our guys this morning, Coach Shankweiler did our thought of the day today. We go around the staff room, and every day somebody takes one. And Coach Shankweiler talked about piracy and where it started and pirates and why they're so special. And being on a pirate ship, how everybody's equal. Everybody's a team. Nobody is greater than one other guy. Everybody shares. And that's what our team is about. That's who our locker room is about right now. And I think we saw how special Pirate Nation was the other night, and I think that's what Pirate Nation is about. So just can't say enough about the other night, how special it was, how electric it was, the atmosphere from the get-go all the way up into the end of the game. And what a special night, and just so happy for our team, so happy for our fan base. But at the end of the day, we got another game to play this week, and the focus goes straight to UTSA. Focus goes straight to 1-0, and we got to do it in a hurry. We can't sit and think about last Saturday. As I told the players this morning, we can't take one play from last Saturday into this week. UTSA is a team that I think is 25-1 under Coach Traylor there in the Dome or something like that. I think they're 24-0 in conference play in the Dome. So Jeff Traylor's a heck of a ball coach, done a really good job, and certainly at home they protect the house. Offensively, they start with Owen McCown. He's accounted for 20 touchdowns. He's a quarterback lefty. And, for Pirate fans, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Holton Ahlers. I don't know if it's just because he's left-handed or just because he does such a great job of getting the ball in playmakers' hands and controlling the offense, throwing the RPOs, those things. The running backs, I think Robert Henry leads the conference in rushing. He's got over 1,000 yards. Does a really good job back there. He's a senior. The other running back there who's, I think, pretty electric is Will Henderson. He's got the speed, the home run speed, much like Sutton Smith the other night, to take to the house. The tight ends are huge. They're one of those same kids from last year. Houston, he's 6'5", 250, and they got two other guys. I call them like SEC-sized tight ends. They're long, they can run, and they do a really good job of using those guys. At receiver, number 1, Devin McCune, has 52 catches. He's a speed guy, does a really good job out there. And the other guy stands out to me is number 8. I think he's got 35 catches and just kind of a guy that will hit you in the seam. I think he had a touchdown pass against Tulane. Defensively, there's some similarities between our defense and what they do defensively. And sometimes you always are looking to steal, thoughts and schemes from other schools. And I think, probably we passed some back and forth over the years. And I like some of the things they do, and we've kind of used it. But they fly around, and the way they play the game is the right way. But there'll be some odd front. Linebacker number 0, Banks, kind of leads them in tackles. I think when they're rush, number 33 leads them in sacks with 5. And then the safety back there, number 7, Wyrick, is pretty active too. He's got 48 tackles and 6 PBUs. So they're a good football team and certainly play really, really well at home. And obviously beat Tulane there at home a couple weeks ago. Definitely have a work cut out for us. And as we talked to our team and our program this morning, is just like it's about our preparation, how we go about our business every single day. And not just on the field, but in the film room. It's, week 14, I believe, game 11, or week 13, game 11, something like that. And four games in a row. So it's also about how we prepare in the training room, taking care of our body, rehab, recovery, all those things. So, and we certainly got to hop on that and get going. One other thing I'd like to mention is, we just want to keep Chuck Sullivan's family and friends in our thoughts and prayers. He's Assistant Commissioner of Communications with the American Conference that passed away this weekend. So just keeping the American Conference and his family and friends in our thoughts and prayers. So this time we'll go ahead and open it up.
Coach, you guys obviously lose Yannick early in the game. How, I don't know, much of a benefit is that y'all can go 12 personnel a lot. You can go to Peyton, Tyler Johnson, those guys on the bench as well.
It's always next man up, and those guys allow you a lot of flexibility, whether it's 2 tight ends on the field, whether it's 11 personnel. Peyton, I thought TJ had a big catch as well, and just kind of do some different things there. And those guys are preparing to be ready to be the guy, and you never know when that's going to happen. Yannick, when he went out early, I thought he could have came back at one point, decided to hold him for a little, for the game. And, the next man up. And it was Brock on the edge, Peyton in the slot, and it was TJ on the edge, Brock in the slot, and it was 12 personnel. So a lot of different things, and it also gives the other defense a lot of different looks as well. So excited for those guys. They did a good job getting out there and just kind of doing what they do.
Coach, you remember when you first looked up, obviously you got the headsets on and you got everything going on, calling plays, that kind of thing, but you look up and you see all those guys up there, all the students. You remember when it was and what your first thought was?
Yeah, I got chill bumps just kind of seeing all of them, and it was just like, you must have thought they were giving away free money up there. That must have been what the drink vouchers were, but you could just see everybody sprinting there. And I don't know if it was, college students or 12-year-olds or, 40-year-olds, but everybody was sprinting up there and just getting into it, and that was pretty special just to see that. And thank you to those folks who did that. And I thought that was like the spark we needed there. And I think we talk about how fans can make a difference in our stadium, and sometimes that's just talk, or coaches say that, but the other night's proof of it. That spark in the second half there was, and you saw it affected them offensively too. You saw them have some bust or some false starts there later in the fourth quarter, especially we had them backed up down there near the boneyard. And that made a huge difference, not only for how it affected Memphis, but how it affected our players and how it lifted them, and knowing that those fans and those Tarps Off crew up there had their backs, and that was pretty special.
Coach, when you look back to earlier in the season, some of the close losses, some of the hurdles, is there anything specific you feel like your team maybe learned from that or grew from that helped you guys this Saturday? Yeah,
it's November. You need to be playing your best football in November, and I think we certainly are. You're going into conference. You're in the conference play with some teams at the top. One conference loss. That's not our focus. Our focus, obviously, on UTSA. But you take all those things you learn throughout the year, and you build and build and build on them to how you can be a better football team, how you can correct those mistakes, how you can grow from those mistakes. And that doesn't mean if the outcome is not the way you want it, or the outcome is the way you want it. You got to continue to grow and move and make sure you're playing your best football in November, and when games matter and when the conference race is at stake.
Coach, when you go to the gas station or when you go to the grocery store around here, this weekend or around this week, it seems like everybody has a certain type of energy and everybody's smiling and waving at each other. But how would you describe this moment right now for Pirate Nation?
Special. And I've said this always, like, what makes East Carolina, what makes Greenville, what makes Pirate Nation special is not just Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium, it's the people that fills up Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. What makes Greenville special is not the people in Greenville, but the people wearing the purple and gold. And how they bleed purple and gold and care so much and so passionate about this place. And that's what makes this place really, really cool. And we'll always make it that way. So I'm just so thankful for that, and thankful to be a part of it, because that's not the case everywhere. I've been places where, football wasn't the priority or football didn't matter. And here, football matters. Greenville is a place where football matters, and East Carolina is a place where football matters. And we definitely want to play our tails off to keep it that way.
Coach, you knew going into the game you weren't going to have Kyler Pearson. You tapped Peyton Mangum's shoulder. He'd never even returned a punt at the collegiate level. Then you've got a really deep receiving room. He's one of the four guys that gets called to run that vertical route at the end of the game. What has he shown you in his time as a Pirate that lets you choose him in those situations?
Consistency. He's been consistent from the day he came in, and just went to work every day and just goes at it, whether it's special teams, returning punts, returning kicks, playing receiver, catching the football, blocking on the perimeter. Whatever it may be, he's just Mr. Consistent, and you trust him. You can trust him because the way he prepares, the way he goes about his business, the way he does his job. He's an older guy. He understands what the game is about. He understands how to play the game. And just excited for him and happy for him that when a huge play came his way, he made it, and he was prepared to make that play.
Coach, obviously at times, moving past a win like that can be tough, but does it help? You can just mention UTSA's stats from the tape, see how good they are at home.
Yeah, I kind of worried about that today a little bit. It was just like, hey, I always show clips of guys blocking or guys running the football or guys playing with great effort in Monday morning meetings. And we got to at some point move on past that and get on the UTSA. So I showed about 7 or 8 clips, and I put the UTSA stuff up there. And everybody was locked in. I thought we had a really good practice this morning of guys kind of moving on. And, you ask them what the goal is, they want to know. And that's what it's got to be. It's got to be look out the windshield, not look at the rear view. Sometimes we talk about that. We talk about negative things. It's the same with, the outcome of last Saturday. We got to look out the windshield, focus on UTSA, make sure our preparation is at an all-time high, and make sure we're ready to go. And we can't talk about any other thing. We talk about keeping the main thing, control the controllables. We can't worry about, the conference race or what this weekend means or who plays who. No, it's not about that. It's about the Pirates and how the Pirates prepare, how the Pirates go about their business, and how we do things. So we got to make sure we're ready to do that and get prepared for Saturday.
Coach, I got it at 22 in a row they've won in the American at home. The question is, what did you see 2 years ago? Pirates lost 41-27, but the crowd wasn't intimidating. Pirates played right with them. What do you think the special magic sauce they have at home in the American?
Well, I'm definitely not going to say anything John Summerall said in the media, so we'll keep it that way. No, I just think that they've done a great job at home and creating an atmosphere there, and you're in a dome, so that's a little bit different than maybe outdoors doing some things, and they've done a pretty good job. And Coach Traylor's a heck of a coach, and I think the 25-0 actually goes back to even Conference USA, but definitely 23 and 22-0 in the American. So it's pretty special, regardless of what it is that makes that makes it happen there. They definitely made it happen.
This defense has been consistent throughout the whole season. You're top of the conference. Just what impact has Coach Aldridge had on this team?
Yeah, I don't necessarily pay attention to stats ever. The only time I hear stats is from you guys. And I always pay attention to our opponent's stats, but never our stats. And it's always, what are we going to do next week? How are we going to perform this Saturday? How are we going to get stops this Saturday, get off the field, find a way to get a third down stop, maybe create a turnover. And I think we need to create more of those. I don't think we've done a great job at that. But I think we have had some guys that do play their tails off consistently and play with great effort consistently. And the way Coach Aldridge and that defensive staff demand that and hold those guys to a standard, and that's who they are. And now it's not just coaches holding to the standard, it's players holding each other to the standard and pushing each other to be great. And I think they continue to do that. And it's like I told them this morning, you can't take one play from last weekend. It's got to be what you do this Saturday that will win the ball game.
Coach Mike Wright, brought the team into practice this morning. He's played multiple different positions. Is there anything you got up your sleeve else for him?
Michael Wright, I don't know what he can't do. He's played receivers, played running back, he's played quarterback, he's thrown the ball, caught the ball, carried the ball, he's played corner, he's made a tackle, he's made a pick, he's blitzed, he punted the ball, he can return kicks. You never know. We'll find out what else he can do. I don't think he can play O-line. I don't know about that, but he might could rush the passer. We'll see. But Mike Wright, and I continue to talk about this, is not just a really good player. He's an outstanding person and just a great representative of a Pirate, and I think just does an exceptional job of leading our football team with his attitude and leadership. So just so proud of him.
Coach, I was able to talk with some recruits. I know you can't comment specifically, but a lot of great reactions. What did you guys get from a pretty big recruiting weekend?
Yeah, I think we had, over 200 guys here again, high school recruits, and then some unofficial and official visits going on. And just for them to see that and see what kind of atmosphere we have here in Greenville, we have here in East Carolina, was pretty special. And, you can always talk about it or tell a guy about it or show him a video or, hey, talk to this guy. But until you see something, then you really feel it. When somebody tells you, you're okay, I believe you, whatever. But when you see it with your own eyes, then you believe it. And I think that's, true in so many situations, but definitely with our home crowd and our atmosphere. And thank you to all the folks that made that happen as well.
Any other questions for Coach?
A couple guys I do want to talk about, and just I briefly hit on them. Zion Wilson, I think just being on senior day, and I think he's worth mentioning as a senior who walked on this program, fought his tail off. I know we had him in the post game the other night, and I think everything he's meant to Pirate Nation, the way he plays, and I think you see his sack, and I showed it in the team meeting this morning. It's not just the way he plays between the whistles; it's the way he prepares, the way he studies the game, and the way he's kind of paying attention to what the offense is doing. So just proud of him. I thought he had a chance to maybe be Player of the Week, and I think the American Conference should take into account who you're playing and the type of quality team you're playing as well. Because I thought that 2 sacks against that O-line is pretty special. And Caden Hauser throwing for 300 yards again this week. It just continues to be exceptional. And we need to try to keep him in Pirate Nation as long as possible. I think he's going to be honored as the American Honor Roll this week. In my mind, he should be Player of the Week, but it's what it is. And I think he'll be named to the Man and Stars of the Week as well. So just congrats to those guys who continue to be outstanding Pirates and outstanding teammates for our program. And thank you to everybody out there. Let's go beat UTSA.